Is my microphone working? Da 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 da.
It sounds like it is. Ba da 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 da.
This is Total Babble. Total Babble. It's a show about music, pop culture, social media, movies, the internet, relationships, TV, whatever. Total Babble. The Total Babble Podcast.
Oh, death and grief and sorrow and murder. Welcome to the new year, everybody. The first part of this show is going to be kind of down. Going to go over the terrible stuff. Then we'll move on and have some fun. There's no way to not have the first part of this be terrible, because did the holidays go good for anybody? Not me. I'll tell you my first part. First, I'll tell you she's Emily, I'm Stu, and call me Jumper Cables, because I like to start shit. I'm wearing my shirt today that you got me for Christmas. Thank you very much. That arrived. It's great and accurate.
I like it, and it fits. It looks great.
Yeah, I had no idea that I lived in backwards world. And when I look on the camera there, it's backwards, and I didn't know that was going on. I didn't know I lived in backwards world. But anyway, these holidays, oh my God.
What a time. What a time to be alive, or to die, as it would be. Tell us all about your holiday adventure, Stu. What happened to you?
I'm working on it. I'm trying to die. Doing my best to die. And I know that a part of this is just me, and I'll try to get through this because I don't want to be really negative. I'd like to try to be positive in this hellscape world that we live in. I want to try to be positive. During the holidays, I got overconfident and ran my bike into one of those big electrical boxes that you see on corners. And I had locked up the brakes because I said, oh, I didn't take this turn well. And I jammed my elbow into the electrical box, and the bike went up into my ribs, and I was pretty sure I had broken my ribs, and I tried to let it go, and it felt like things were broken. So then I went to urgent care, and urgent care, they took x-rays, and they told me that, oh, no, you don't have broken ribs, but they could be bruised. It's just going to be really painful for 2 to 3 months. Get ready to deal with that. So I had that going on, and they gave me drugs for that and sent me on my way. And then, travesty for me, it's been a saga. Christmas Eve, internet completely went out here at the studio in the house. I can't have this. I called Cox Internet and threatened to go on another social media jihad. I said, we've been going through this for years. Well, they had 3 trucks out here working on everything Christmas Eve till late in the evening to make sure that things were working good, because I told them, I said, I'm going to do it again. And to their credit, at least they fixed it. They replaced every single line going into the studio and house here. Credit to them, but they should have done that already. And they said they should have done this already. They admitted that. So now I'm going through life with bruised, broken ribs, whatever. And, oh, by the way, when you go to urgent care, you know you can have an appointment. You know that the word starts with an A, appointment. I had an appointment. How long do you think I waited while I was waiting to get my ribs x-rayed?
90 minutes.
3 hours. It was 3 hours I sat there because it is flu season and people don't get vaccinations. And I feel like if you have an appointment and then you wait 3 hours, it's not really an appointment. You ought to just wander in. And I also feel like I get COVID and flu vaccinations, and I ought to be able to go to the front of the line for that because I am one of the people that tries to be healthy, and let me go ahead of you. That seems fair. And
are you sure they were triaging flu patients ahead of you?
That's
and
what the
not...
doctor said. The doctor
Really?
actually said, sorry for the wait. And I said, yeah, what is going on? He said, everybody has the flu. And you could see people in this waiting room, and I'm wearing a mask, and I'm thinking, I am in this hellish room of people that are diseased, and I'm going to get it too. And he said, yeah, it was flu. There was a mother sitting with her 10-year-old son, hugging him because they both had it. And I thought of you because I could picture you doing that. And here's my idea. My idea to fix healthcare forever is this. If they don't get to your appointment within 20 minutes, they have to give you $1 million. I think we should do that. We should make that law in this country. It's not weirder than anything Trump has come up with. $1 million if they don't keep their appointment, and then everything will be good, and you can get in and out very quickly, and they'll handle it good. So
Or not $1 million, they'll just get catapulted into the Gulf of America.
Whatever you want to do, just something. I'm just looking for some kind of help and understanding when I'm sitting there injured. So then they gave me drugs, and I was taking the drugs, and it was after Christmas Eve, and I had a really bad reaction to the anti-inflammatory drugs. I started feeling dizzy and thought I was going to die, so I stopped taking my drugs, and then it turns out I didn't die, so that all worked out.
Thank God.
But this has really been my entire holiday of just injured and having no internet. And then I talked to you and found out that really you kind of had a worse holiday. Go ahead.
Well, not that it's a competition. And there were many great things about my holiday.
I feel it is a competition. We should see how bad we can suck.
Well, when you sent me that text,
Yeah.
I felt very bad for you. I had been up all night, though, at the vet because our cat was on his last legs, and unfortunately, Reuben the cat died.
Reuben the cat died during the
sad.
holiday. Come on, Reuben. At least stick it out for the kids beyond the holiday.
He did not stick it out for the kids, and it was terrible. I took him to... The worst part of it really was, now, Reuben the cat has been sick for about 10 months, and we knew that he had some kind of terminal illness, but we didn't know what it was. And he got frightfully ill just before New Year's Eve. And I took him to the emergency vet, and they kind of gave me false hope. I got this terrible fucking vet tech. She came in and she was sort of blubbering and going blah, 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 blah. And she's like, well, basically, I'm just asking you, what do you want to do? Do you want to put him down? And I said, well, I'm open to euthanizing him, but I would like to know.
I thought you meant like say bad things to him. Like, oh my God, you're an ugly cat. Not put him down, like kill him. Okay,
yeah,
I got
it's
it.
like, oh yeah, he's just so heavy. Where can I rest it? Yeah.
Took me a second.
I said, I'm open to it, but I would like to talk to somebody who can explain to me what's happening with him right now, all this sort of stuff. She couldn't answer any of those questions. What happened is because he was sick, we'd stopped giving him his preventative worming medication, and he had contracted worms.
Yeah.
And so the doctor then came in and was like, oh, we'll give him a dewormer and we'll also drain the fluid from his belly. And she had me convinced that this was going to help him in some way. Not once did she say to me, actually, his terminal illness is sort of ready to take him and he's in a really bad place and he's drowning in his own bodily fluids. You should probably let him go. She convinced me to spend nearly $700.
I was just going to say, because they make more money from that.
So I ended up accidentally making this poor cat suffer even more. So I let them give him this treatment. I took him home and I was up for nearly 48 hours because I was waiting for our family vet to open. Anyway, and he was yowling in pain and everything, and he wasn't even doing that before I took him to the vet. So then I took him to our family vet. She came in straight away and she said, it's his time. It's time for him to go. And I was like, thank you so much for just being straight and honest. And so we were able to go through that process. I was able to be with him and all of that kind of stuff. She told me that he was drowning. His lungs were full of fluid.
Yeah.
And the other vet should have told me that. She's like, it was very obvious. Like, that's why he was coughing and stuff. And that's why he's lethargic. He can't breathe. And I just felt really terrible. And I'm sure that there'll be people listening going, how fucking dumb are you? Well, I don't know, probably pretty dumb. But
I'm not a cat guy, but when it affects your kids, it affects you. And I completely understand that part of it.
And it's not as cut and dried as you might think. He was, so my mother-in-law is also in town. And he was a normal cat when she arrived. He was all over her, sitting in her lap. Everything was great. And then it's like he got a bit of a cold and then he went downhill rapidly. It was terrible. And then 3 days of hell before he ended up going. And then it was just terribly tragic.
So now you've got to try to keep things up for the kids and the holiday and all that. And
oh, yeah. And then you won't believe it, but as you know, we have the geriatric dog as well. And she's taken a turn for the worse all in the same week. She's still up being crazy at 3:30 in the morning, falling down the stairs and all of that kind of stuff. And then 4 o'clock one morning, my husband is calling out to me because she's collapsed and become completely paralyzed and has lost the ability to control any of her bodily functions. And now we're like, well, we can't be like, oh, great, so we put the cat down yesterday. Now we're going to put the dog down? No, can't do that. So now we're really trying to stretch it out for at least 2 weeks so that we're not putting down 2 of our kids' pets in the same week.
So I have a thought. I'm wondering, would it be better, do you think it would be better with your kids if you told them that the dog wandered away, like say the dog escaped the house and wandered away, and you have all those crazy neighbors? Maybe you could just pay one of your neighbors to old Yeller the dog in their backyard and deal with it that way. Would that be a better way to go about it? Because that way they don't have in their head that the dog is dead, and then you've solved your problem, and it's not nice in your own head, but at least you did it for your kids.
I feel like, 1, I would like to tell them the truth. But 2, I feel like not knowing would be worse. It'd be like, think about all those families that have like missing family members.
Yeah.
I don't know. They know she's going to pass away soon enough. We've talked about it. It's happening. I think by the time it eventually happens, they will be less upset.
Is it better to say to your kids, hey, the dog wandered off and probably got killed by a bear? Maybe that's better than watching her suffer in person. I'm just saying.
I mean, maybe. Oh, get this, though.
Yeah.
Get this, okay? This is true, the stuff that's happening around the holidays. We have deer in and around our neighborhood.
Deers are assholes, I hear.
Sure. However, half deers have been showing up. Either the front half or the back half have just been showing up in people's front yards. So there is... Why? We don't know.
Like
is
half
it some
deer carcasses is what you're saying.
Yeah, correct. Half
the
a
hell?
deer. What the fuck, man? Nobody knows why. And so the neighbors are surmising, is it some sort of big animal or is it some sort of fucked up neighbor who's just out there carving up half a deer? Because there's no rhyme nor reason to it, and people are out there on your favorite app, Nextdoor, just taking photos of these half a deers going, what's going on? And then I was driving around our neighborhood and I was like, oh fuck, there's another half a deer. And I've got my mother-in-law in the car. She's never seen a deer before. Then, well,
you just say this is the way they do things here.
Exactly. Now she's seen the back half of a deer. She's still never seen the front half of a deer. But I mean, I'm hoping that she'll get to see the front half or like a full live deer because that's better.
Well, in the 80s, they would just blame it on the devil worshippers in the neighborhood and say that, oh, there's devil worship going on. Or nowadays, you could say it's the space aliens. That is what the drones are doing. They're out here splitting deers in half.
Splitting deers. Well, what about old mate Las Vegas Cybertruck explodey guy? He said that it's China. Look, my holiday in the grand scheme of things was actually good. There's a lot to be thankful for. My mother-in-law is visiting from Australia. It's been really wonderful, especially for my sons who don't get to spend time with their family and they love their nana dearly. And so it's been really fun to see them just get to be with her every day. And
look at this great Moab gun I got for Christmas.
oh my gosh.
Did you get the kid the Moab? You should have got the Moab. Oh, it's so good.
He didn't get the Moab, but he got a Gatling gun, like a Nerf Gatling gun, which he thinks is quite good. And
if you're thinking of me for next year, I could use one of those. I'm just saying.
One of those Moabs?
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah.
But the Moab has become an absolute joke in our family because he's still obsessed with the Moab.
I get it.
And it's also become a joke amongst all of my friends who also won't shut up about it because none of us can believe that something so ridiculous exists.
It's ridiculous and great.
And great.
Yep.
Yeah, and great. I'll be the first to admit it.
As bad as things go, at least they didn't go this bad. Aubrey Plaza's husband. Did you hear about that? What the fuck? That just came out of nowhere. For those that don't know, Aubrey Plaza, great actress. I like her a lot. Her husband, I didn't even know who he was really, hanged himself in their Los Feliz home. Apparently an assistant found him, and that's just terrible. Happy holidays on that. How do you deal with that? That's bad because somebody has to find you, and that's worse than pills because they don't just find you passed out. They find you hanging from a rafter, and probably not as bad as a gunshot. But if you want to traumatize people, you hang yourself when you kill yourself. And I'm just like, wow, where did that come from? I mean, she's nutty, but I feel like she's nutty in a good way. And what did they have going on? And you know she's going to blame herself. How do you not?
Oh, my heart breaks for her. My husband actually mentioned that he let me know just the other day, the morning that it happened. And it just, my heart broke for her. I remember watching an interview where she told the story of when they got married. Have you heard the story of when they got married? It's a really darling story. They got married during COVID, right? And so they're in lockdown and they're getting married, and they were just hanging around. They'd had a few drinks and maybe a few Scooby snacks. And so they just looked at each other and they're like, let's get married. When? Fucking right now. And so they went on the internet and they looked up these 1-hour marriages. And we should probably play the bit because obviously she tells the story a lot better than I ever would. But she looked up, because they live in California, and they looked up these 1-hour marriages. And so she called the guys up and like, hey, can you be here in an hour? And they said, I can be there in 2. And she says, well, that's not really what you're advertising, is it? Right you are. I can be there in 1. And so she had to go across the street and get her neighbors. She set up a little altar in their backyard because she's a little bit witchy-woo. She put up some artifacts of their love or whatever, and it was witnessed. And they got married in their little backyard with a couple of witnesses just for themselves. And they kept it to themselves for a number of years, and it just sort of came out organically. But I just think that is really lovely, and I'm just so brokenhearted for her and for them, and that he was obviously very unwell and very sad. He was only 47 years old.
Yeah, I like her a lot. There's a video of her that I just saw after this happened, actually, online going into a Starbucks with her computer. But the thing is, this was, I think, mid-2000s, and she went in there to set up her computer, but it wasn't a laptop. She had the full tower and the full big CRT monitor, and everybody else is sitting there on their laptops, and she's plugging it in and plugging in the mouse and the keyboard in this whole big computer system, just completely oblivious to everybody. And I just thought, what a great bit to even think of that. And you see her on talk shows, and she's just very fun and super attractive. And it's wrong to say, but when she starts dating again, I'll just put out there, I'm here for her, because it's got to happen at some time. And why not me? I would be there for Aubrey Plaza. I know the body's not even dead yet, but this is the way I think. I'm sorry, I'm honest about it.
The body's definitely dead and is probably cold by now.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, so don't worry.
I hope the body's dead, because if not, there's going to be a problem. Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ.
We've
so
created
grim.
Zombies here on the show today.
Oh my gosh. It's so sad. I remember the first time I ever really closely came across the concept of suicide, and I was in the 12th grade in high school, and a guy that I went to school with's father hung himself. And we have this concept of senior jerseys. So everybody in the 12th grade gets a senior jersey. And you know the band Suicidal Tendencies?
Yeah.
This guy, his favorite band was Suicidal Tendencies, and he was getting suicidal on the back of his jersey. It was proactively changed to his name. He found his dad, I believe, hanging in the garage.
The thing that I hate about the suicides when people analyze it, it's people have got to be in so much pain to do that, and they've got to be really horribly fucked up. And it used to be really cliche that anytime somebody talked about it, they would go, well, it's just the most selfish thing that you can do. No, shut up. It's that thing that people said for a long time. Oh, it's so selfish. Well, imagine how much pain you would have to be in to off yourself and let that go and just deal with it and move on. And it's terrible and fucked up, but don't blame the person, you know?
Yeah, it's really terrible. And when it comes to kids, it's kind of contagious. Kids psychologically lack the capability, especially in that sort of 14, 15, 16 age group, to think about things, about the long-term consequences of actions. And they develop these little suicide clusters where, one of them offs themselves, and then all of a sudden people start to realize, oh, this is an option. And then more and more and more and more and more of them start doing it. And so there's been these terrible clusters around the United States where this sort of happens. It's terrible.
That's why there's all those internet challenge videos that probably kids are not thinking for themselves as much as they should. And I'll try that too. I'll stand under ice for an hour and see what it does to me. And yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, it's really, really terrible. And, yesterday my husband and I discovered that a lady that we used to work with, her son, who was at college, committed suicide and all these sorts of things. It's just, we really have this, I don't mean to be histrionic, but an epidemic of suicide. And it is just, I don't know what it is. It is so sad.
Mental health in this country is such a stigma. You can't admit to anybody really that you work with that you're going for mental health treatment, because then they'll think that they need to be on edge with you all the time and, oh, what's wrong with that guy or girl or whatever. And that really is a thing that we should be more open to that. And honestly, if somebody tells me that they're going for that, I kind of wonder about them too. And I'm guilty of that, I think.
What is it about modern life that has this happening? There is something about the way that society is, the way that we live our lives, the way that the world is, that is making people sick.
Yeah, we're a fucked up society. I mean, if you look at the way even apes treat each other and the way social structures are in animals generally, we are the worst species around. We suck. We kill each other over nothing. We're competitive over this imaginary thing called money. We're terrible. We should do better. We should be apes at least.
Yeah. Man, it's rough. As usual, things have gotten pretty dark pretty early on in the show.
Yeah.
But, there's lots of good things. It is a new year, so...
I'll mention, too, about Aubrey Plaza really quickly.
Yeah?
Her last movie, I think that she did that I saw that was great, that I was raving about over and over, just because it was great on its own, is called My Old Ass, and you can get that streaming. It kind of relates to this in a small way, in her situation in a small way, and it's totally worth giving a view. So My Old Ass, good stuff.
Yeah, that's a great pitch.
Also, around the holidays, when I was running around with my fucked up ribs, I bought air purifiers for the house because we have a terrible society where everything is polluted. And do you know about these things? I went to Costco and I got the WinX C610s. Do you have any WinX C610s around your place?
Not WinX C610s, but I have different ones.
Well, here's the thing. I got 3 of them for around the house. They purify the air and suck it in, and I did all the research, and these things have sensors, and they pull in the pollution through the filters, and they have LED lights on the units themselves that tell you how good the air quality is. And blue is great, green is good, yellow is poor, and red is really bad. So I set them all up, and I'm like, hey, the air does kind of feel better and healthier in here. And I'm not quite as congested, except this morning I'm very congested for whatever reason. And then do you have any idea what I did with the air purifiers as an experiment?
You took them outside.
No, even better. If you could see the way she's visually scoffing at me right now.
Fucking hell. Okay, things, what could you have done? Okay, I just want to think about things. 1, did you take it into the toilet and close the door while you were having a dump?
No, but close.
Boring. Okay, what did you do?
I said, hey, I wonder if I really fart around these things, what will happen? So I was feeling particularly gaseous one night. I had some takeout food or something. I went right up next to one and I said, okay, let's see what you got, air purifier. And I let one go. And usually as a vegetarian, my farts do not smell, but I was particularly wafty around the holiday time. We'd had some Harry and David's food sent to us, and I tried some of that, and that upset me. So I let one go right next to the air purifier, and it went down to yellow. It went to yellow status. I was like, yes, this is a good investment. These things work.
That's amazing.
It really is true.
That's
so if you want to
amazing.
do some scientific testing, you just have Mexican and then move on with life and go like that.
Oh my gosh. Did I tell you the story of how my family had Taco Bell one time?
No, but go right ahead.
One time.
Says it right there.
So, my husband and I both work a lot, and our kids had a nanny for a number of years, and she used to live with us, and she loves Taco Bell. So when we moved to this city, she convinced us one night to go and get Taco Bell. So she convinced us. We don't eat a lot of fast food. The exception is if we do have fast food, we like good quality pizza joints. Like we have a local family-owned pizza restaurant that we love. Anyway, back to Taco Bell. Okay, so we went to Taco Bell and we let her choose for each person based on our personality. What do you think off the menu that we should be eating?
Right.
So she chose all of our menu items.
Kind
And
of food matchmaking. Pretty cool
Exactly.
idea. Yeah.
Food matchmaking. Anyway, so we all ate our stuff. We all didn't even like it going in. Some of us didn't even finish it. It was just, even on the palate, it was greasy, open, it didn't smell quite right. Our bodies were like stiffening. Anyway, we consumed it. The next day, we were literally shitting out our entire lives, almost turning ourselves inside out like a medical glove after some kind of internal examination, just like... This was nearly 5 years ago, and our kids are still sad about it. They still remember not the day. They say you never forget how you feel. You may forget what people say, but you never forget how you feel. They still remember how they feel, and they will never go near a Taco Bell because they just remember how violently ill we were.
My gin is their Taco Bell. One night I was partying hard with friends and drank a bunch of gin straight, and I can never be around it again. That's the way they are with Taco Bell.
Oh, mine's Jim Beam bourbon.
Ooh.
Is my bad alcohol.
That just sounds burny.
Yeah. If I smell it, that is the smell of vomit. To me, is the smell of bourbon.
Taco Bell, when I was in high school, used to be the best thing ever, and it was still fast food, but back then it wasn't processed and shitty, and I can really tell that over the years they have gone to make it as cheap as possible, and it used to not taste synthetic and upset you so much, and I'm with you. I have to stay away from it completely nowadays. It's just the worst.
Just the worst.
Yeah.
I wish that fast food was better. There are a few restaurants popping up that I think are better.
And a local pizza chain is not fast food. I think that's just a local pizza chain, and that's a fine way to go. Human being needs pizza every once in a while. It's a medically known fact.
100%. I mean, we should call the Surgeon General. Can we put a sticker on it? I mean, we're not too far away from the idiocracy. So pretty soon, all of our government officials will be wearing those big gold chains, so we'll be able to recognize them in the street, and maybe they'll be giving out ribbons and gold stars.
Speaking of which, this is a good transition here. Hakeem Jefferies was giving a speech recently. Did you hear about this and what he had going on?
I did not. What did he have to say?
He was giving a great speech in front of Congress talking about, with this new administration coming in, all the wonderful things that Democrats are going to fight for, and we're still going to fight. And I thought it was really well done. But then he got to a little bit of an issue in his speech. And this is one of those dumb things that I could not play on the show. So here's the speech and how it went with Hakeem Jefferies.
We will fight hard to defend the freedom of opportunity that makes the American dream possible. We will fight hard for the freedom to vote.
It's really dumb, and it's just a
Been around
simple
your place.
We
flub.
will fight hard for the freedom to vote. We will fight hard for the freedom to vote.
I love it so much, and it's just a simple thing. It's just one word, but the fact that he said it, and now it's out there for everybody, I enjoy that. And good speech other than the fart part. It just fit our Taco Bell thing so very perfectly. There you go.
Ridiculous.
You know what you do is you fart hard, and then you stand next to your air purifier.
Air purifier.
Oh, air purifiers at Taco Bell. That is what we need. It'll be the new thing, and they can advertise it. Say, hey, come on in. Our food's crap, but we got these air purifiers. It's a good way to go.
You know, it's not very often that I go to a restaurant and I feel unsafe.
Yeah.
Waffle House.
I've never been to a Waffle House. Those are mostly back there, I think, near you. I don't think we have them out here.
So I've never been to a Waffle House.
Yeah.
But apparently it was on my kids' 2024 bingo card. So they wanted to go to a Waffle House last year. It's the kind of place that is such a fucking shithole that they lock the toilets and you have to get permission. And
you have to have the code.
You have to be escorted. They don't even give you the code. They put the code in for you. Like,
we don't trust you to know the secret code to use our bathrooms in the future, so we're taking you there. What the hell?
exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely outrageous.
So, other topical stuff. The Golden Globes were this week. You watched that at all?
I did watch a little bit of it, but I'm not in it for
I don't
who
care.
wins.
I
don't
always
care.
bitch about award shows and I say I don't care. And it was on and I said I'll give it 10 minutes. And here's what I learned from the Golden Globes. Nikki Glazer is great, a very great stand-up comedian. I like her a lot. She's known for roasts and that kind of thing. And I felt like she treaded the line just the way she needed to. Ricky Gervais just pissed people off and she didn't want to do that. And I felt like that was good. And I got about 15, 20 minutes in and then I had to leave because I learned something at the Golden Globes. You know what I learned at the Golden Globes?
What did you learn?
Songs are butterflies. No, they're not.
What?
Songs are not butterflies. Some asshole was talking about soundtrack music and got up on stage. Maybe you missed it watching it. But she said, songs are butterflies. And I said, no, they're not. Songs are not butterflies. It's these people that say, songs are my children. At that point, I had to turn off the TV and I couldn't be with the award show anymore whatsoever. Songs are butterflies is why Trump has been reelected. It's why people see shit like that and say, I'm going to vote for Trump because people think that songs are butterflies. Shut the fuck up.
This is... Songs are like butterflies. You're like, nope, fuck that. Kill all the butterflies. I hate butterflies and I hate the Golden Globes.
It's not even it's songs are butterflies. There's a difference there. Songs are butterflies. They escape in a chrysalis of goodness from their musical majesty. Oh.
Well, they couldn't possibly be butterflies. I mean, and very, very specifically, worms. Okay, they have to start out as a worm and then a caterpillar, right? And the metamorphosis that a caterpillar goes through to break down to goo and then re-emerge as a butterfly. Have you ever seen what happens when that doesn't quite go right?
No, but even the process is not attractive.
Yeah.
The end butterfly, depending on the butterfly, can be beautiful, but that cocoon and all that gooey shit in the pod, it's like a hornet's nest.
Oh, some of the chrysalises are really beautiful. What about the really pretty ones?
I've never seen a pretty one.
You haven't seen the sparkly, shiny ones?
Maybe
okay,
I'm not looking at the right songs.
You're not looking at the right songs. You're looking at the wrong songs.
Yeah.
You must be looking at the country and western ones. You've got to look at the rap ones. Those are pretty and sparkly. Those are much, much more attractive. But sometimes they get all fucked up. They don't always come out with their bits in the right spot.
I think I know where you're going with this. Are you going where I think you're going? Are we talking about zombie butterflies?
Pretty much.
And they just come out, try to kill all the other butterflies, and this is where we're headed in our society. It'll be the butterflies that kill us next. It's going to be an outbreak of butterflies.
Zombies are butterflies.
There you go. See, that's what she meant to say. She just screwed it up. Zombies or butterflies. Yeah, watch out for butterflies. They'll get you. You're looking something up there.
Zombies are butterflies.
Is that what you're looking up?
I was trying to find you a rap chrysalis.
Oh.
So you can revel in all its glory.
All right.
But talking about things that are cool, puppetry museum. Do you like puppets?
That's right. You told me before the show you had a puppet thing. You went to the puppetry museum. Not puppetry of the penis. That was the thing that was out about 10 years ago. The dudes were
not that.
moving junk around and that kind of thing. I don't even know why I brought that up. Sorry. Go ahead with your puppets.
No, it's fine. But I do remember that. That was very big. No pun intended.
And weren't they Australian? Weren't they your people?
I think they probably were my people. I never felt compelled to go and see that.
They're a dark mark on your society.
But we also are responsible for the Thunder Down Under, the male strip review.
That's right.
That's very popular, very big in Vegas. Yeah. Although I don't think that all of the strippers are Australian anymore.
A bunch of posers. Bunch of penile posers.
Penile posers.
They got going on.
So the Chippendales.
You can tell by looking at a penile. You go, hey, that's not an Australian penis.
Can you?
That's what I've heard.
You've got a keener eye than I do, Stu.
Totally what I've heard and understand. Anyway, your puppet museum, Yeah,
the puppet museum. So Jim Henson has a puppet museum.
He's the head of the Muppets.
Exactly. Yep. And so Muppets, Sesame Street, Fraggle Rock, Labyrinth from all of those
Jennifer
shows.
Connelly.
Yep. You can see photos from the original production and artifacts. You can see Miss Piggy. You can see Kermit.
You had me so excited there. Can you meet Miss Piggy?
You can't touch her, but she's behind glass.
I'd like to meet and talk to her. See what really happened behind the scenes.
I mean, it would be good, right? But you can see her. You can see Bert, Ernie, Elmo, Grover. You can see everyone. It's amazing. It really, really amazing. Really great time. And also puppets from all around the world. One of the things that I just found so amazing is that puppetry and puppets as a storytelling medium is something that has been pervasive across every culture on Earth. Same as cave painting, almost. Every single culture across every continent has a version of puppetry. And you could go to this museum and you could see it. And it is magnificent. The styles are different. The materials are slightly different. And then we also saw a production of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, but the puppet show. It was a live puppet musical. And these puppeteers performed all of the voices and all of the songs and everything live. And it was amazing. It was so good that we thought that all of the music and voices were pre-recorded.
I was going to ask, are they lip syncing?
We thought that they were lip syncing.
Yeah.
And so we weren't that impressed. And then at the end, when they came out and they had all these microphones strapped, to the middle of their foreheads like little penises and were singing.
Australian penises.
Exactly, little Aussie penises. Yeah. And we were just gobsmacked. It was amazing. And then they showed us all the different puppets and all the different puppet types. People got inside the puppets. Some of them, the people had their hands inside the puppets and stuff. Anyway, as you can see, I'm really into puppets right now.
Big puppet focus.
There's a big puppet focus happening in our house at the moment. But the only reason that I'm sharing it with you and everybody else is because I feel like puppetry is a lost art. And it is something that perhaps, if you haven't had the opportunity to look at, perhaps you could, because it's something that I'd never really considered and I hadn't thought of and I hadn't given it as much perhaps time and attention as I could have. And then seeing a modern show, it was so interesting. Well worth a visit. And for those who are listening, if you haven't thought about going out and supporting your local puppeteers by going and seeing a show that they're putting on, it's actually a boatload of fun and they're very clever people. 5 stars.
Wondering if As a single dude, it's a good place to go. I feel like you should have kids. Show up as a single guy, probably not as great to go to the puppet people. They might look at you kind of weird and sideways. Just saying.
Well, you may think it is only for children.
Yeah.
It is not.
All right.
Look up The Feebles. Under no circumstances should you ever watch those puppets with children.
All right. I will
Strictly
do that.
adults only.
Puppet porn, apparently. Very alliterative. Puppet porn, apparently. Possibly. Puppet porn, possibly.
Possibly, apparently. But apparently they are very risque, not politically correct in any way, shape, or form. I have it on good authority from my father, who also recommended that I check out The Feebles. But one of my friends, when I was raving to her about puppets, she was like, oh yeah, I went and saw an adults-only puppet show. Huh. She said, I was invited by my friends to go and watch the puppet show, and I thought it was going to be for kids. And she said, well, I had my eyes opened. And so it's not just for kids. Puppets can be quite grown up.
Puppets, the other white meat. Puppets, it's not just for kids anymore. There you go. Got some stuff going on. There you go. And the only thing I would be careful of is when they're hanging the microphones down in their face. That could be a ruse. It could all be on a track. Not saying it wasn't a wonderful experience no matter what. Not saying that they're not being honest. I'm just saying they could be hanging the microphones there to make you think that they're doing it live, and it could be pre-recorded. I say that because what is this show, Wicked? This Wicked movie that came out? Mm-hmm. I'm open-minded. I'm trying to watch it. It's 3 hours long. I got through the first 2 hours of the thing. I thought, okay, this is decent and enjoyable. I'm not going to hate it. I think I really genuinely dislike Ariana Grande. But they say that during the filming of that movie, all of the music was sung live, that all the vocals were done on set because they wanted it to be authentic and it's really them singing. To that, I say bullshit, that there's no way, just listening to the way it's produced, there's no way. Maybe they told them they were doing that for hype's sake, and maybe the actors even think that, but there's no way that that occurred based on what I know of production and listening to the way they did that. I'm just throwing that out there. I am a wicked doubter.
I agree with you. Whilst they were doing the dances and whilst they were filming, yes, they were singing.
Right. But how much of that did they use?
No.
Right.
No. They also recorded all the music in the studio, and they were also singing while they were shooting the film.
It's kind of like...
Both of those things are true.
In the bad days of Britney Spears, they probably told her, no, go ahead and sing, but she was so fucked up on drugs that they had the record playing in the background and they just mixed her up a tiny bit and then really turned her up in between songs so she could talk. I think it's probably that kind of thing, and Wicked is like Britney Spears on drugs, is what I'm saying.
I see. I see how you got there.
Correlation I've made in my head.
Yeah, Wicked is Britney Spears on drugs.
Yeah.
And Songs of Butterflies. I see it. I see it now. It's so clear.
We learned so much.
I haven't watched Wicked. I don't know if I will. Don't be disappointed. The first movie is going to just ignite a rage in you, because you know it doesn't offer a resolution. If you've seen the musical, it'll only get you to the intermission. There's a second movie.
I've heard it's 2 parts, and it's like 2 hours and 41 minutes.
It's a
and
lot.
I'm not disliking it. I feel like Ariana Grande plays Golinda, this asshole witch, and I kind of feel like she is that person based on what I know of her, and that's my judgment. I kind of feel like she is just really snooty and cunty like that, so that kind of bothers me. And then I will say this, it's not my place to say this, it's my own judgment, but has nobody realized how much plastic surgery Ariana Grande has already had in her young age? I look at her 20-whatever-year-old face, and I go, Jesus Christ, she's had a lot done. She looks like a plastic Barbie doll mixed with the Joker. How did that happen? And nobody's willing to talk about that. Am I off?
Nope. She looks almost like a lollipop.
Yeah.
Like when girls are so skinny, if you look back to when both of those lead actresses started that film to versus what they look like after when they're on the press tour. They look like the bobblehead version of themselves, almost like a lollipop or a clothing stick. They look sick and not okay. It's not
really
okay.
weird, and it's something that sticks out to me. And I feel like by the time she's in her 30s and 40s, she's really going to look like a weird stretched piece of leather, and it's not going to go well for her. And I just remember all the little things she's been in the press about, and I think I might dislike her, and sorry about that. It seems like she's still talented. The singing is good, though it's a track, and I don't know. And the other thing, too, this has been a long time bit on the show. I can listen to her music and never, ever understand a single word when she sings. I don't know what that is, but that's the way it is in Wicked. When I'm watching this Wicked, I'm feeling like I'm getting half of the story because I can't understand what she's saying. And I really think that's me. Ariana Grande and I are on a different frequency, and I can't understand her language. I think that's what it is.
Only dogs can hear Ariana Grande.
That's what it is.
That's what it is,
You have
yeah.
a special screening for animals only.
Yeah. Well, she's a great vocalist for all intents and purposes.
Yeah, she sings well. Just can't tell what she's saying.
Just can't tell what she's saying. So I'll give her that. She used to date Pete Davidson, who I think is a pretty funny comedian. Sometimes.
I'm jealous and bothered by him. Anybody that gets Kate Beckinsale, I have a problem with. And this long string of women that he's had, I would feel like if I got involved with Ariana Grande, like I was involved with a 12-year-old, it would skeeve me out in a big way. But the line of women that he's had, and apparently it's just because he has a huge dong. That's what I hear. I'm just saying. She scoffed.
I think it's because he's actually a nice person.
Yeah, it could be.
By the way, Kate Beckinsale, she's not okay. Have you seen her lately?
No.
She's fucked up.
Is she?
She looks worse than Ariana Grande.
With plastic surgery?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't want to hear that. She was so perfect for so long.
She was.
God damn it. Kate.
She has, poor thing. She has gotten all fucked up. And now looks
What's that breaking up with Pete Davidson apparently scarred her mentally, and now she's trying to compensate for it and be super attractive to the rest of the world, which she already is by getting her face hacked up. Just stop it, women. And dudes, whatever. You're weird if you're a dude and you're getting plastic surgery too, but women especially, you don't need to be doing that. Just grow old gracefully and be like, what's her name? Elizabeth Hurley. I don't think Elizabeth Hurley has had work done, but oh my God, Kate Beckinsale. She's holding a picture up. Are you sure that's real?
100%.
Oh, that's saddening.
That's a paparazzi pic.
Yeah, she's getting stretched out and she's getting that typical plastic surgery look. Oh, my hopes and dreams are crushed.
Sorry, and get sad. She was spotted getting cozy with Matt Rife at the Golden Globes.
That comedian?
Yeah.
Oh, not that guy.
Gross. He's not funny.
He's not. And honest to God, I heard about this Matt Rife, and there's controversy, and people don't like him, and he's so young and just kind of hacking his way through the comedy. And I'm like, I'm going to be open-minded. I'm going to go in and like this guy. And I watched some of his stuff, and it's not funny. And it's just so Generation Z or whatever we're up to, and it's all crowd work and just bullshit, and I don't feel like there's a lot of talent there. That's my opinion. Oh, I am a comedy connoisseur, I will say that, but I don't like him. Sorry.
We're big comedy fans in our house. We wanted to like him. I think the best part of his work is the crowd work. In fact, that's the only part of him that is funny.
See, I don't like it because to me, crowd work is a crutch. When I see comedians doing crowd work, it's like, well, I don't have anything else, so I'm going to go out there and play with the crowd because I know I can do it. And to me, it says, well, I don't have anything else, so that's where we're going.
Yeah, that's the only part of his routine. That's good.
If you want to
and
see
nothing
crowd
else is
work,
good.
look up Todd Barry. Todd Barry is this great comedian that probably decades ago now did shows where that's all he did, and he's better at it than anyone. And he did that and then went on and moved on with his career and did the rest of his comedy in doing real bits and being really funny and stuff. So,
Yeah. Well, I'll have to check him out. The berry. Let's see if it's riper than Matt Rife, shall we?
Todd Barry, veteran, very low-key comedian, almost like Stephen Wright, if you know who Stephen Wright is.
Good.
I got dehydrated water. I don't know what to add to it. It's a Stephen Wright joke. Mitch Hedberg. Do you know Mitch Hedberg?
No.
Oh, Mitch Hedberg, dead, killed himself, drugs. One of the greatest comedians ever. But he had an odd view of everything. One of his jokes was, I saw a wino eating grapes, and I said, dude, you have to wait. That's a Mitch Hedberg joke right there.
That's so good. Speaking about round things,
Yeah.
bowling.
Oh.
Take your mother bowling.
My mom would not bowl. Yeah, I'd like to get the old lady out of that. She wouldn't bowl. Too much, too heavy. She can't hold the ball. She gave me the weirdest look like, really?
The light one.
She would not be able to do it. I'm telling you. She has put
a
herself into the headspace where she's an old, frail lady. So even if she could do that, she wouldn't do that in her own head. Like bringing in the groceries, I'll grab everything and help her get stuff into her house and all that. So, good idea. But, maybe if there was a Nerf bowling ball.
Oh, well, we had an amazing time bowling last night. We had never gone bowling as a family, so we took our 81-year-old Nana.
Oh, nice.
Both of our kids, my drug-running husband and I, just mad bowlers. It was so funny, and it was so fun, and we were just dancing in the aisle, being stupid. We are all shit. And we ordered bad food off the menu. And then my younger son was teasing his older brother for getting boneless chicken wings because he's like, why don't you just say you're getting nuggets?
It's a very good question, actually. What defines the nugget?
Exactly. Why are you too embarrassed to say you're getting chicky nuggets?
Great philosophers have sat down and debated why not just call them nuggets. It's been a thing throughout history.
Yeah. Exactly. When you're too embarrassed to say that you're getting the chicken nuggets, call them boneless chicken wings.
And by the way, when did we start calling them Nuggies? Did that happen around the same time Baby Yoda came to be? Was it around Baby Yoda time that we discovered the word Nuggies?
I don't know. I find that we infantilize things when we want to infantilize the person.
Yeah.
You want the chicken nuggies?
Oh, okay, you don't want to eat real chicken? I'll get you some Nuggies. But if you do it with a kid, it's kind of cute. We'll get our child some Nuggies, and there's Baby Yoda standing by eating a frog, but it looks like Nuggies.
Yeah, it's cute when you do it with a kid. When you do it with a grown man, it's really insulting. But I think that's by design. Can you imagine? We should start a restaurant, actually, where all it is just really attractive women being really mean to everybody who comes in. Can you imagine how much money we would make?
I think they have restaurants like that.
The fucking chicky nuggies, do you?
You're going to have the Nuggies and just be really patronizing.
Oh, I bet you do, you fucking idiot. Can you imagine how much money that restaurant would make? It's disgusting.
Dudes that have the secret fetish of being dominated would go in there and eat constantly. That would be a thing for them.
Yeah, and can you imagine how cheap that restaurant would be to win? Because you're only serving chicken nuggies.
Huge profit margin.
Huge profit margins. And here's the other thing too. So much shit can go wrong because part of the kink is being humiliated and having bad stuff go wrong. And also, who are you going to tell?
You're not going to admit to it. You're not going to point it out. Exactly.
No, exactly. I don't know. I think we're onto something here.
As we often are. We'll just never do anything with it. These great ideas that just float out there. Here, somebody, have our idea. Go ahead, take it now.
Yeah, take it now. We should franchise it. What are we going to call it?
I don't know.
Mother Cuckers. I don't know. What do we...
Other Cluckers is good. I like that. That and my charge people $1 million if they don't get you in to see your doctor within 20 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. That's Cluck You. That's the medical arm of our chicken restaurants.
Oh, we've done it here today. There was a Muppet Chicken or two, right? I remember Muppet Chickens.
Many Muppet Chickens.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
There were chickens in space.
I remember
why
that.
I know that.
I've never really watched the Muppets yet. I remember so many things about them. I don't understand how that can be.
I don't understand much
Like,
about
I remember
Muppets
the
either.
visuals. I don't know any of the songs. That Mahomes thing, when I did the da-da-da-da-da, that I put that together, and I
Mahomes?
never knew the songs. The Mahomes song that I did for the show. Remember that? Mahomes, when he was a Muppet. What was that? Da-da-da-da-da-da. What's that song? I completely don't know now.
Yeah, I've forgotten. No,
that's the
No, because
theme.
he's Fozzie. No, the Fozzie Bear thing.
God damn it. It's one of my favorite
I know, I
production
remember.
things I've done, and I'm very proud of it, and I can't remember the name of it. Okay, this is going to get boring. We should just end the show.
But they do have Animal and Manamana. Manamana.
That's what it is. It was Mahomes Manamana. Mahomes Manamana when I spliced him into the Muppet Show. And
Manamana.
yeah, here's the theory. I think that, remember Animal, the drummer from the Muppets band?
Yes.
I think that is Mick Fleetwood. I think somebody saw Mick Fleetwood and said, Animal, there you go. That's going to be the main inspiration for Animal.
I can see that.
All right. I'm convinced it's right, and we're going to go with it, and everybody have a
Ship it.
great week.
Have a great week.
Good one. Cock. Hey, all right,
Fuck
good.
you.
Yeah.
Okay, you know how this goes. Like us, subscribe, tell your friends, write a nice review, engage with us. We're Total Babble on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, on Threads, and on Blue Sky. Email is show@totalbabble.com. The Total Babble Podcast.
Patrick Mahomes was on The Muppet Show.
How did I? All right, one more time.
No, people have made fun of my voice for my entire life, so I've gotten used to it. It's like the joke that keeps giving. So I've heard it all. I've heard the Kermit the Frog. I've heard the smoking, whatever it is, but it's unique. I heard she was in the house. I felt a little bit of pressure. And so I knew I had to get it to Trav. I think he wanted to get in the end zone just as much as all the Swifties wanted him to.
How did I?